corruption, and that's what I want to push and detail that, Bobby, as we continue on.
Well, this is why it's so really important that you watch the BBC. It's about a 55-minute program, all right? But it focuses on Texas and Florida. Now, in Florida, there's a place called Stock, and there's maybe 5 to 6 correctional institutions in a cluster. And Stock, Florida, is a prison town.
The whole town.
The whole town,
community.
everybody in the town works somehow or somehow is connected
with
to that prison system.
Right.
You will see them beating an inmate. One guy, and it's just mind-boggling. This guard you'll see is on top of a guy, and he is beating him with one hand, and he gets tired, and he shifts, and he starts beating him with the other hand till he's tired, and he shifts again, and there are guards all around him just watching him do this. You'll see another spot where an individual is murdered. They actually beat this man to death. And you'll see his body with all the bruises and stuff on him. And what's really interesting on this one is one of the guards, you'll hear him talking, and he will tell you that had he known the guy was going to die, he never would have kicked him. Right? He testifies in court against all the other guards. Why the prosecutor did not get a change of venue and move this to another section of Florida? The jury, the foreman of the jury, guess what? He was an ex-correctional officer. Here's a guy who's testifying, saying this guy was murdered. Not guilty. They get away with murder.
They got away with
you
murder,
have to,
and they got off.
If you really want to understand concepts of corruption, you have to watch this video and see what's going on. In the Texas thing, they're supposed to be doing a shakedown for drugs. And they strip everybody naked, and they have people crawling on the floor, stepping on their backs, hitting them with cattle prods. And one individual who has a broken ankle and can't crawl, they grab him by the wrist and they drag him across the floor. With this one on the BBC, there's a transcript, and it's really important to read it. One of the guards says he does not understand what all the fuss is about. We do this all the time. That makes it okay.
To people who are coming back to our community, and we expect that they're going to be changed. This is we are paying for this. Our people and the people who are watching us, you need to understand, most of these folks get through this. Most of the prisoners get through this, are brutalized, then they're coming back, and they're going to be in your hometown.
Exactly.
And we're getting ripped off as a community. You're getting ripped off financially, and you're getting really ripped off at the product that is coming up.
That they're putting into the community.
Right.
They're not rehabilitating people, they're exacerbating their problems, and they're throwing them into your community without any means of survival other than the old techniques. Now, in this BBC film, they have the American Correctional Association, which is a part of the prison industrial complex. They have a convention. And this convention, you watch this.
How to make money.
It's how to make money.
How to make money.
All it shows you is selling products associated to corrections. And this man has a stun gun. And I mean, this is a heavy-duty stun gun. You can see the electrodes. These are big. All right, this ain't no little, and this thing is, you see it in his hand, right? And he will tell you, right? When he's asked, he said, well, what kind of voltage? He says, oh, that ain't, it's nothing. He said, I've done it to myself. It's like the equivalent of a bee sting. Then you'll see an individual that they use this bee sting on, and he has burns all on the side of his body where they hit him multiple times, and the skin on his hands is blown away. You can see the red burnout on his hands. They killed this guy. You'll see this in this video. This is the problem. The entire system is so corrupt. This has to be stopped. It's not about the chair. They got this little thing they call the chair, where they strap people down into a chair. On this website, you'll see a piece on pain.
Right.
And you will see them take a guy
The use of
and
this chair.
cut his orange jumpsuit off. They will put him into this chair, it's a bed chair, and you'll see one of the guards got the guy by the penis, controlling to put him in the chair. And once they're strapping him down, someone you hear say, give him the gas. And you'll see the guard behind him pull his head back and spray directly into his face,
mouth.
mace.
Nice.
His mouth, his nose, his eyes, all over his body is covered with this burning.
While he's being restrained.
While he's being restrained.
Yeah.
And you'll see in this video where this stuff takes the flesh off of people's bodies. Guys, I mean, you see whole sections of individuals' bodies. They look like radiation victims. Now, the first time you do this and that happens to another human being, okay, you didn't know. But once you know that that does that to a human being and you continue to do that to another human being, that's torture. And that's why you must see these videos and see the stuff that's going on. This guy that they put into the chair, they strap him down, he urinates and defecates on himself. And guess what? They put the chair in him in an empty cell. Why didn't you just take his clothes off of him and stick him in an empty cell? Why did you put him into this chair where he had to urinate and defecate on himself, had to suffer with mace in his eyes, his nose, his throat, and all over his body? You have to see this to appreciate the corruption that's going on in the prison system, in the judicial system across the board.
Yeah, and we're not talking about coddling prisoners here. We're not talking about that. We know that rehabilitation works. We know how it works, what should be done, and all of those things. That is not, I don't want my audience to think, we're not saying that every person that you see is a nice guy or anything else. We're not talking about that. We are talking about serious abuse. We're talking about torture. We're talking about the correction department taking individuals and not giving them back to you far worse than they come in.
97% of the people are coming back to your community. We're saying we want them coming back to the community as law-abiding, productive citizens. Not coming back to your community worse than they went into the jail. Because that's what's happening now. You have to go on this website, nlhome.org. It is going to be across the screen so you won't miss it. You have to go there and look at these videos. And then you'll understand what's going on. You know, we keep hearing these concepts of, you know, coddling prisoners, and they make it sound like prisons are like being on the Riviera.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolute nonsense.
It is absolute
No prison is like being on the Riviera. And when you see this stuff, when you see these videos, then you see what prisons are really about and what they're like. And the system, you know, when you deal with another human being as cattle, you lose your compassion, you lose your humanity. And you'll see this happening on those videos.
This also helps you understand. You got to understand, there's shows on TV that shows gangs and everything else like that. But what is not being understood is there is manipulation of this whole concept that causes the corruption. These things do not have to happen in that environment. The environment is made like that to produce an individual that is violent, that has no hope, that's got nowhere to go, and they are manipulated into this type of situation.
Well, as Shelton says in his book.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Shelton, which is great.
The corruption.
Right.
It not only corrupts inmates, it corrupts
everybody.
You can come into the prison system as a